Chapter 9, the 18th emergency, the penultimate chapter. Chapter 9. Saturday was warm and bright, the first pretty Saturday they had had since Christmas. Mouse, lying on his bed in the hall, could tell it was sunny just from the brightness of the normally dark hall. "Mum," he called, not knowing what time it was and whether she had gone out to deliver cosmetics yet. "Mum!" There was no answer. There used to be a boy who lived in the apartment next door when Mouse was little, and every time he would call, "Mummy," the boy would answer, "Whatty?" in a high, false voice. Mouse got out of bed slowly, in stages. He sat on the edge of the bed, leaned forward, looked at his feet, straightened, and then continued to stand by the bed for a moment. Then abruptly he dressed, went into the kitchen, and looked at the boxes of cereal on the shelf. He tore open a box of Sugar Pops. He waited, looking at the cereal. Then he refolded the box and put it back. He went into the living room, and out of habit, he switched on the television. Superman was on the screen, flying over the city in his suit and cape. Mouse watched for a moment, and then turned off the television. Superman might be faster than a speeding bullet, and able to leap off tall buildings with a single bound, Mouse thought. But even Superman couldn't keep himself from being turned down to a small white dot. Mouse got his jacket from the chair by the door. Even though he knew it was going to be warm outside, he put on his jacket and zipped it up. Then he left his apartment. The street and the sidewalks were crowded. Some girls were roller skating, and it was the first time Mouse had seen that this year. Usually, him and Ezzy liked to sit on the steps and watch the girls, calling out things like, "Congratulations!" when they slipped. There would have been a good time to sit and yell comments of this nature, because the girls had lost their roller skating talent over the winter. "Help me!" the biggest girl was yelling. "Don't let me fall!" While she was screaming, the two smaller girls, sisters in matching sweaters, began to lose their balance. "Help me! Help me!" the big girl cried. The two sisters were now on their knees, still holding the big girl up. "Help!" the big girl cried, and she too went down onto the sidewalk. "Yeah, for Louise!" Ezzy would have cried in delight. He would have nudged Mouse as the girls struggled to their feet, anticipating more fun. "Get this, Mouse. Keep your eye on Louise. She's the one to watch." Mouse passed on without comment. Louise was still sitting on the sidewalk saying, "I think I broke something. No fooling. No, I think I've broken something." Mouse kept walking down the crowded sidewalk. He knew a lot of these people, but no one seemed to be speaking to him today. It was as if everybody in the world knew what he was going to do. And everybody knew that if they gave him any sympathy at all, if they even patted his shoulder or took his hand, he would not be able to do it. He would just fold upon the sidewalk, curled forward like a shrimp. He crossed the street, touching both feet on the old trolley tracks, because this was supposed to bring good luck. And he stepped up on the sidewalk in front of the laundry. He thought that if he could walk down the street blindfolded and know right where he was. The odours that came out of the different doors told him what to expect, what cracks there were in the sidewalk, who would be standing in the doorways. He turned round the corner, past the old movie theatre, the Rialto. He smelled the musty old smell, and then he stopped thinking of anything except the fact that he was now on Marv Hammond Street. A bus passed him, stopping to pick up an old woman with a folded shopping bag under her arm, and then moved on. Mouse had started to sweat. It wasn't even that warm a day, not even with his jacket zipped up, but sweat was running down his sides, beneath his shirt in a way it had never done before. At the same time, his throat had gone completely dry, and the two conditions seemed somehow connected. He saw a boy who'd been in his school last year, and he asked, "Have you seen Marv Hammond?" His voice had the crackling, dry sound of old leaves. He turned his head away and coughed. "Nice morning. Does he live round here?" "He lives right over there," the boy said. "Lots of times he's down at Stumpy's." "Oh. If I see him, I'll tell him you're looking for him." "I'm Mouse Fawley," he said, looking at the boy. "I know." Mouse glanced at his watch. It was 9:31. Slowly, he walked the half block to Stumpy's, which was a pizza place that had pinball machines. The entrance was below street level, and Mouse stopped and looked inside for a moment. He couldn't see anything at first because his eyes were still accustomed to the bright light outside, but he could hear the sharp mechanical sounds of the pinball machines, the bells, the clicks, the machine gun bursts of points being scored, and he went down the steps. Is Marv Hammerman here? He asked, squinting up at the man behind the counter. The man was putting packs of gum in a display stand. He glanced at Mouse and kept on straightening the gum. No, he hasn't been in. Hey, Steve, where's Hammerman? The mouse and the man waited, while Steve's ball travelled down through the bright maze of the pinball machine. Steve urged the ball into the holes and with gentle leaving movements of his body. When it was over, he said, hey, he may be in later. Thanks. Mouse turned and walked out the Stumpies. He lifted the cuff of his jacket and checked his watch again. It was 9:36. Slowly, he began to walk up the sidewalk. It was one of those things he hadn't thought of, that he wouldn't be able to find Hammerman. He walked 2 more blocks, turning around, and came up the other side of the street. He thought he would not be able to bear the tension if Hammerman did not appear soon. He crossed in front of Stumpy's and started down the street again, moving a little faster this time. He thought he'd been walking for hours. Where could Hammerman be? He looked at his watch again. It was 9:55. The sunlight seemed blinding now, and Mouse wanted to dim it so that whatever was going to happen would not be lit up for everyone to see. He walked to the end of the block. Another age had passed. He squinted down at his watch. It was 9:57. He paused in front of the barber shop to wind his watch and found that it was already wound tightly. He could not remember winding it, but it was a strange kind of day where watches could wind themselves and a minute could become an hour, and the sun could shine on one single person like a spotlight. He started walking. He walked in the same quick way. It was almost back to the old Rylotol Theatre when he saw Marv Hammerman coming towards him. Hammerman was with a boy in the black sweatshirt, and both of them were walking quickly, as if they had heard Mouse was waiting. The boy in the black sweatshirt was smiling a little